Plato found himself deep in contemplation, tormented by his own ego and longing for true freedom and happiness.
Okay, Socrates, what is the truth? Why my thoughts produce pain?
Plato, you suffer from social conditioning. Society creates the ego in us by reinforcing the importance of the individual, focusing on achievements, competition, and material gain. This conditioning can make it difficult to recognize and transcend the pain that the ego produces. To get rid of the ego, Plato, you must first know it. The strange thing is that it has no tangible form or true existence, but brings you suffering every day. Plato, all the pain that you feel as emotions come from your ego that is just thoughts in your mind. Negative thought patterns. Repetitive negative thoughts such as catastrophizing, self-blame, or rumination can amplify and prolong painful emotions. For example, constantly thinking about a past mistake can fuel feelings of guilt and shame, while dwelling on worries about the future can trigger anxiety and fear. Thoughts trigger nervous system reactions in the body, leading to the physical sensations we experience as emotions. Based on the amygdala's assessment in your brain, the autonomic nervous system kicks into action. Negative thoughts trigger the amygdala to produce a fight or flight response located in the sympathetic nervous system. The ensues as emotions. These physiological changes, along with the release of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, create the physical sensations we perceive as emotions. So, the pounding heart you feel in anger, the butterflies in your stomach during excitement, and the tightness in your chest during sadness are all products of this intricate interplay between your thoughts and your nervous system. Plato, what causes your pain is none other than your ego. The ego is the thoughts, images, and feelings that flow from the thoughts of your mind. He is a mischievous demon who enjoys seducing you and tormenting you with lewd desires and negative thoughts. Some negative emotions, like pain and offense, can stem from our identification with a limited sense of self, often referred to as the ego. The ego is often described as a mental construct formed through our experiences and interpretations that represents our sense of self, including our identity, beliefs, and desires. It can be thought of as a filter through which we perceive the world. When the ego feels threatened or challenged, it can trigger various defense mechanisms to protect itself. These can include defensiveness, anger, blame, or even self-isolation. When we identify strongly with the ego, we become attached to its perceived needs and vulnerabilities. This creates fertile ground for negative emotions to flourish. For example, if someone criticizes our work, the ego might interpret it as an attack on our competence or worth. This triggers the defense mechanism of anger or defensiveness, leading to pain and emotional discomfort. Similarly, if we perceive someone's success as a threat to our own self-esteem, the ego might generate feelings of envy or jealousy, further adding to the emotional baggage. The ego is built on a foundation of desires. Intense desires often involve high expectations. When these expectations are not met, the result can be immense disappointment and frustration. This can lead to emotional pain, feelings of inadequacy, and even bitterness. Your ego is your enemy eternally, making you crave desires that can never be satisfied. If they are satisfied, bigger ones grow. Some desires, particularly those based on egotistical goals like fame or power, are inherently unfulfilling. No matter how much we achieve, the ego constantly strives for more, creating a perpetual state of dissatisfaction and emptiness. Like the mythical Lernean Hydra, you cut off one desire head and two more desire heads grow in its place. When we become intensely attached to our desires, they can start to control us. We become driven by the need to fulfill them, sacrificing our values, neglecting our relationships, and even compromising our well-being in the process. Practice letting go of intense attachment to your desires. Focus on appreciating what you have and accepting what is beyond your control. Mindfulness can help you observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, detaching from the grip of desire. Gratitude can shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have, fostering a sense of contentment. So, my friend, the ego is a bundle of thoughts, beliefs, values, memories, experiences, plans, and ideas that reside inside your mind and make you believe that Plato is your ego. But your ego is not you. You are not your ego, but you think you are. What the I tells you with thoughts you believe because you think the thoughts are your thoughts. Your true nature is fundamentally one and undivided, yet through interactions with the world, a limited sense of self, the ego, arises. This occurs through conditioning, experiences, and beliefs, creating a false identity separate from the whole. Characteristics of the ego. The ego often clings to thoughts and beliefs. The ego identifies with its thoughts and interpretations, believing them to be the absolute truth. Emotions and desires. The ego becomes attached to emotions and desires, seeking constant pleasure and satisfaction. Material possessions and achievements. It defines itself by external things like possessions, status, and success. You see, Plato, your whole life has been spent defending a phantom, an illusion called the ego. But fear not, for the ego exists nowhere but within your mind. Entangled in the illusion, why we identify with the ego. Sense of security. The ego offers a sense of stability and certainty in a seemingly chaotic world. It creates a familiar sense of who I am and what I want, providing a feeling of control. Fear of annihilation. Letting go of the ego can feel like losing one's identity, leading to fear of dissolving into nothingness. This fear can be deeply ingrained and keep us clinging to the ego, even when it causes suffering. To find yourself and peace in essence, you must embark on a journey of self-discovery, uncovering your true nature, the essence of your being. Through meditation, immersed in your heart, you will relax as the ego slips away scared and helpless into the enlightening light of your consciousness. It will leave, leaving peace, happiness, and an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Meditation and mindfulness practices can help us become more aware of our thoughts and emotions, allowing us to observe them without judgment or attachment. Cultivating compassion and empathy can help us see things from other perspectives and reduce our self-centeredness. Remember, the journey to transcend the ego is ongoing and requires consistent effort. However, by cultivating self-awareness, expanding your sense of self, and embracing a growth mindset, you can learn to navigate the world with less reactivity and more emotional well-being. Begin your journey of self-discovery and be determined to find your true self beyond the illusory trappings of the ego. And so, knowing the traps of our ego and freed from its captivity, we can reveal our true selves. By meditating and detaching, by observing the thoughts that arise in our consciousness as a witness, you can see their impermanent nature and understand that they don't define who you are. Through inquiry, reflection, and self-concentration, you can discover your true self. Then, you will live a life full of genuine happiness, joy, laughter, peace, and a sense of gratitude for life. Created by Elias Stasinas, I invite you to subscribe, like, and share the video.